All right, we're doing a little mental health check. How are you? How you been? It's Mental Health Awareness Month. Let's talk about it. It is Listen, It's Liz. If you did not know, I was a mental health ambassador a couple years ago with my friends over at ICANN. And ever since then, I have done my best to continue the conversation. I didn't even realize at the time, prior to being asked, that I was talking about it so much until one of my good friends now, Michelle Truitt, was like, you are somebody who is just constant positivity on the air, but in reality, everybody has a life, right? Everybody has, the slogan for the campaign was, everybody has it every day. And there is something to be said about mental health and what we put out to the world, what social media sees, how we actually feel at home when we are alone. And I think it's a really important topic. I also wanted to talk about it because this weekend I was out and about and I had a friend come up to me and she was like, I need you to know that I just started medication. I'm back in therapy. I had a really terrible winter and mental health is so important. And she was like cheerleading and she was like, and I know that you're so transparent about it. And I wanted to let you know that like, I'd love to like get with you and talk about it and kind of get through this period of my life. And I said, this is why I do it. This is why I talk about it, because I remember being a little intimidated that I was going to go on medication about it. And I was a little embarrassed, and not a little, I was embarrassed a lot. And then I got on it, and guess what? I am so happy I did. But I just feel like her coming up to me and having that one interaction makes it worth it. If you can make one person feel like they're not alone, that's the entire point of social media and talking about what we're going through. So I think we need to back up a little bit. When I say like Mental Health Awareness Month, then I'm not going to sit here and just tell you like you should drink your water, because I'm not a doctor. I don't have any advice for you that's actually scientifically proven. I am going to tell you about what I do that helps me, and maybe it might help you. And I have talked about it over and over and over again. I love therapy. I have one of the coolest therapists you can ever have. That also helps. Find one that you vibe with. But therapy is something where I get to go and talk about what's happening around me, ask for advice, and the person on the other side of the conversation, whatever I choose, it doesn't affect them. My therapist just does not care if I say yes, no, or maybe. But if I am talking with my friends, my family, and my yes, no, maybe affects them, human nature is they're going to try to be like, oh, well, maybe you should do this. And it's not in a mean way or a way that's coming like out to get you because they want what's better for them. It's just a normal human nature thing to kind of be like, oh, well, if she leaves or if she goes here or if she decides to stop doing this, like, what am I going to do? Who am I going to do that with? They might push you in another direction. And that's why I love therapy. I also love the fact that, she was the one that made me realize that I have like racy like tendencies. When I get really amped up, I tend to race. She goes, and when people do that, you have to realize that that's when accidents are going to happen. That's when things are going to go down where you're not going to be able to slow down. And then bad things happen. So there was one time I went in for a session and I went in and I swear the words were just coming out of me a mile a minute. Okay. And is that the saying, a mile a minute? It was a lot of words. Anyways, it was a lot of words. And I remember she kept like looking up above my head, which is where the clock was. And she was like, you realize you came in, sat down and talked nonstop. I don't even think you took a breath for 25 minutes. And I said, yeah. She was like, I think it might be a good idea to go on medication. And I was like, you know what? Maybe you're onto something. So, I also talked a lot about medication with her. She was like, I don't know if it's necessarily the right answer, but maybe we should look into it. And I said, okay. And, with her and my doctor, we kind of discussed like, depression and whatnot runs in the family. So like, is this something that we should be taking more seriously? Is it something that, maybe a little bit more sunshine can help with? Whatever it is. We took our time to figure it out. And eventually I ended up on Prozac. And I started on a low dose. We upped it. And it has been the best thing. And I think a majority of people who are on any kind of medication, or happy pills, as I like to call them, if you are on happy pills and you don't see signs that you're changing for the better or whatever, then maybe you need to up that dose. Only because, when you're at like your final straw, you are right on the ledge and you are like, this is just too much. I can't handle any more life to you. And then your sleeve gets caught on the doorknob. Or you go to the bathroom and there's no more toilet paper left. And the end of the world happens. Mental breakdown, tears for days. That's usually when I know that like, oh, the meds are working. You know why? Because I dropped an entire gallon, a fresh gallon of milk onto my kitchen floor. It dropped, it exploded, the milk went everywhere. Guess what? I didn't even cry. I just went, oh, and I grabbed my mop and I cleaned it up. And what I could save out of the broken gallon, I put into another container and I put that in the fridge. My husband says, what happened? He's like, you didn't even make a noise. You didn't even scream. What am I going to scream about? What am I going to cry about? Spilt milk? Please. I'm above that. I had to go with one of those jokes. But I remember thinking, I didn't cry. This would have absolutely broken me. But I didn't cry. And it's because I am regulated. Isn't that nuts? Another great one was that just yesterday I was on the phone and I was laying on my bed here and I went to go move after laying down on my stomach. And I felt something on my pants and I realized I had laid down in cat puke. And not just a little bit, a lot of it. And I had spread it into my sweatpants and I had spread it into my whole bed. And I just casually changed the sheets, put them in the washer. No tears needed. Laughed it off. Who is she? We don't know, but we want to keep her here. So those are the two things majorly that I did. I also, completely changed up my entire life and quit my job. But that's not for everybody, okay? I just want you all to know that. But I do know that, like, what do they say? It's insanity to do the same thing and expect a different outcome over and over and over again. So I have to say, I did know that my life needed a bigger change than just medication and therapy. I thought, like, I had talked about it with my therapist a lot. And we kind of came to the decision that it was time. It was time for me to make a change, a move. And if I didn't like it, that's okay. We can figure something else out. And I think that's also what I've learned in this past year. Nothing is permanent and everything is figure outable. And if I go with that mindset instead of the mindset of just like everything is terrible and if I make one wrong move, that's it for the rest of my life. Like, let's be so for real. That's not true. So other things that I've noticed since I have been really kind of paying more attention to myself and leaning into this idea of taking care of myself, I have made goals for myself to walk outside every single day, be outside, be in nature, get fresh air. That's like one of the biggest things they say about mental health. Like, if you're not feeling good, go outside. If you're in a fight, go outside go for a walk. Like, just take a minute to breathe. And I have loved my outside walks. It was funny because like I was a person who always fought with everybody about going for walks or whatever. And I like that I can go at my own pace. I like that I can listen to music or audiobooks or podcasts, whatever like I'm in the mood for. And it's kind of just time for myself. I take other people with me occasionally. When I get out there, when it starts and I can like breathe in fresh air, it feels really good. And if I can inspire you to do that, it doesn't have to be 1,700 miles. Sometimes I only do around the block. Sometimes I do my 2-mile loop. Sometimes I do a half a mile. It just depends on the day and it depends on what I need. Sometimes I need to be outside longer. Sometimes I don't. I also have found that I've started reading again. This has been huge. I was a big reader back when I was in high school, and I fell off of it. Got back into it recently because I was like, maybe this was good. 75 Hard always talks about like reading a chapter a day, and usually it's of self-development or whatever those books are, but those don't do it for me. So I was like, maybe if I try to like get back into any kind of fiction or nonfiction, or just like find something that I care about and learn about. And I found that I really like that. Right now I'm listening to Fourth Wing. It's an audiobook with a full cast, which is really cool. It's like a movie in your brain. It's like the coolest thing I've ever done. I've been really enjoying that so far. But that is what I found is helping me get my screen time down. Like I'm excited about the stories I'm listening. I'm excited to kind of escape into these places. I've been able to relive Matthew Perry's life. I've listened to Jeanette McCurdy's book. I did Michelle Obama's book. And it was definitely just like, it's been really nice to kind of escape or learn from other people in that way. So that has been huge, I think, as well as just getting me off of TikTok for as long as I'm on TikTok. I'm also trying to get better about just letting myself sit or not getting my to-do list done, because tomorrow's a new day and that to-do list is still going to be the laundry, no matter if it's today or tomorrow. I'm still going to have to do it. I'm going to have to wash the dishes in the kitchen and vacuum again. It is fine if it waits another day. But I think that took a lot of practice and time, and it's not something that if you have a brain that's constantly reminding yourself like of those things, and you have to do this and you have to be productive, that is why I think the medication is so important. It helps me kind of slow down for just long enough to realize like nothing is that serious. It's going to be okay. Just slow down. Now, the other thing I noticed that I had been doing that I was like, maybe I am doing better. I realized that I was planning vacations. We went somewhere early in January, and then I made another trip for Bobby's 40th birthday. And now I'm like, okay, we gotta get to Hershey Park. Like I'm planning more trips than I ever would have thought. For someone who doesn't really like vacation, because I've never done it, I'm like, wow, this is, I see why people do this. Like they get excited to go away. They have something to look forward to. They get to go out and experience new things. And I wasn't doing that before. Because I wasn't interested and I didn't have time. I felt like I didn't have time. I don't have time for that. Why? You should have time for that. You should have time for fun and relaxation. That's totally normal. It's what normal people do. So that's a sign of that something's working out for me. I also, when I was at leadership, I talked to Bianca, and Bianca owns a wellness yoga studio, and she talked about journaling. And she asked me, like, do you journal? Because I said, I don't think I can meditate. I just can't slow down, which is why I don't like yoga. And she was like, she goes, if you journal, which I've never even thought of this, but it makes sense now. If you journal and you write down what's happening inside of your brain and you write it down, you have one less thought that's right there. You have put it out into something, the energy has been gone. And she's like, and then you're able to meditate. And I was like, well, isn't that interesting? I've thought about it. I'm not really that successful with it. I wish I could be better. It's because I am like a racer. Like I just like can't slow down. But I always thought that was like, that's an interesting concept. Have I started doing the journal? No, I still can't bring myself to do it. But she made a good point. She was like, you can journal about anything. You can journal about you had this annoying person at work, or you were really proud of yourself because you did this, or you saw this online and you wanted to try it and you did it, or, you hate everybody and everything. Like, that's fine. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be profound. It just has to be a thought that's inside of your brain. Maybe I should add that to the list. Maybe for May, I could add that to the list. Reading every day, and I am walking every day. And the other thing I've been just getting back into has been my gym. Now, I'm not bragging about this because I haven't been there in months. And I've now just gone for 3 weeks in a row, twice every 3 weeks. that's really good for me. I haven't been to the gym in a while. My coach actually said to me, I've never had to re-meet a client so many times. And I said, I am proud to be that person for you. But I remember when I first started, I thought, why would anybody stop doing this? I don't know, Liz, because life happens. And sometimes you can't find the time, or you think you are too busy to take time out for yourself. And I always said those 45 minutes at the gym were 45 minutes that I was only helping myself. The only person getting anything out of it was myself. And I was really upset with myself when I fell off of that routine. And it does feel good to go back. I'm not lifting as heavy. I'm not going as fast. I'm definitely struggling. But I am there. I am there, and that's what matters the most. So I'm getting back into that as well. And I think no matter if you want to get back into something that's more, physical, and you want to like move your body, or if it's you want to maybe learn more about the nutrition of what you're putting into your body. Maybe you want to be more spiritual. Maybe you want to get back to church. Maybe you want to follow the moons like I've been doing. I mean, whatever it is worth a shot. If that's medication, if it's therapy, I need you to know it's not silly. It's not embarrassing. It's not something that you should be ashamed of. It's called taking care of yourself. If you were bleeding, you'd put a Band-Aid on. So why do we not treat the same kind of, if you are in your own head being so mean to yourself, why are you not figuring out how to turn that off? So this Mental Health Awareness Month, I hope that you do something for you. I hope that you can take a minute and think about what you're doing. Or maybe even if it's like your entire family, or if it's your friends, or whatever it is, I want you to take time for you and realize what you want. Because if I didn't do that back in May of 2025, if I didn't cry in the diner with my mom, telling her how insecure I was and how sad I was and how I just felt like I couldn't do anything and I couldn't do it well and I was just in my own head, if I didn't start those conversations, if I didn't think, okay, I need to do something up, I need to do something different, I need to try something new, if I didn't leave the radio, if I didn't put myself out there, I would not be this version of myself. And I'm pretty proud of this version of myself. And it's like the first time I've been able to say that in a long, long time. And that is what I want for you. So this is why I'm talking about it. If I can get one person to come up to me again and be like, I listened, I heard, I saw, you deserve to be happy. And it's not an easy thing, and it's not an everyday thing, but it's something that you should be working towards. I love you. I mean it. Happy Mental Health Awareness Day. And if you ever need anybody to talk to, just hit a girl up.